Yes, I'm going to work. The J.W. Williams Funeral Directors have been proudly serving the people of this community since 1918. Service is our motto. The poor, the rich, the middle class, and all are given the best of care and attention at all times. You have the privilege to select what you want. In your time of need, contact the capable, the competent, and the dependable staff of the J.W. Williams Funeral Home who is genuinely concerned with your care. At J.W. Williams Funeral Home, you are aptly served by the proprietor president, Deacon Arthur L. Parker, who continues the traditions and values set forth by the past president, Dr. Napoleon Williams. Your announcers for the J.W. Williams Funeral Home Sunday morning program are Deacon Arthur L. Parker, Reverend Isaac H. Owens, Mrs. Calandra Wilkerson Parker, Minister Frankie Harmon, Miss Sandra Johnson, and Deacon Earl Clark, Jr.
Thank you, and good morning, friends. We come to you this morning to bring announcements, dedications, and songs. We certainly hope that your day may be brighter after listening to our program. The family of the Reverend J. Willie Daniels Jr. of Vienna, Georgia. The family of beloved retired educator, Mrs. Rondalyn Wright West of Cordele, Georgia. The family of Mr. Jesse Rowe Ferguson of Americus, Georgia. The family of Prophetess Annie Streeter Thomas of Americus, Georgia. The family of Miss Gloria Williams American of Canton, Georgia, would like to thank their many friends for the food, the flowers, the condolences, and all other expressions of sympathy and kindness shown to them during their hours of sorrow and bereavement during the past week. The Reverend J. Willie Daniels Jr., age 71, of 424 Pinecrest Drive, Vienna, Georgia, died Friday, August 12th at his residence in Vienna, Georgia. The funeral service for the Reverend J. Willie Daniels Jr., age 71, was held Sunday, August 21st in the A.S. Clark Auditorium on the campus of the M.D. White's Medical Institute in Cordele, Georgia. The Reverend Woody Barnum, pastor of the St. King Baptist Church, officiated. His pastor, the Reverend James McBurrow, pastor of the Agape Baptist Church, delivered the eulogy. The burial followed at the Vienna City Cemetery in Vienna, Georgia. Survivors include his loving and devoted wife, the Reverend Joyce Ann King Daniels of Vienna, Georgia, a beloved stepdaughter, Miss Tanika King of Cordele, Georgia. His beloved children he reared, Mr. Gerald Turner and his wife, Mrs. Renee Turner of Oceanside, California, Miss Aurelia Oliver, Mr. Shaka Lewis, Mr. Demetrius Carter, all of Vienna, Georgia. His loving and caring siblings, Mr. James Davis and his wife, Mrs. Joyce Davis of West Park, Florida, Mr. Burt Kinchin, Mr. Russell Daniels and his wife, Mrs. Ozime Daniels, Mrs. Watine Jackson and her husband, Mr. Charlie Jackson, and Miss Wanda Faye Williams, all of Vienna, Georgia. Mrs. Margaret Redding and her husband, Mr. Melvin Redding of Cordele, Georgia. Mr. Alvin Daniels of Valdosta, Georgia. Mr. Thad Daniels and his wife, Mrs. Norma Daniels of Cordele, Georgia. Miss Ruthie Daniels of Atlanta, Georgia. Mr. Antonio Daniels of Cordele, Georgia. And Miss Donna Faye Thompson of South Carolina. His beloved mother-in-law, Mrs. Dorothy Shorter King of Cordele, Georgia. His beloved sisters-in-law, Miss Dorothy King, Minister Brenda Jones, and her husband, Charles Jones, Mrs. Rosa Howard, and her husband, Deacon Benny Howard, all of Cordele, Georgia. His brothers-in-law, Mr. Charlie King, and his wife, Mrs. Deborah King of Perry, Georgia. Mr. Jerome King and his wife, Mrs. Brenda King of Las Vegas, Nevada. Mr. Tony King and his wife, Mrs. Michelle King of Cordele, Georgia. Mr. Bernard King and his wife, Dr. Cassandra King of Warner Robins, Georgia. And Mr. Randy King and his wife, Mrs. Martha King of Atlanta, Georgia. A host of beloved nieces, nephews, cousins, other relatives, and many, many sorrowing friends survive. The Reverend J. Willie Daniels Jr., age 71, of 424 Pinecrest Drive, Vienna, Georgia. Retired educator, Mrs. Rondalyn Elizabeth Wright West, age 68, of 1102 South 12th Street, Cordele, Georgia, died Saturday, August 20th at the Chris Regional Hospital in Cordele, Georgia. The funeral service for beloved retired educator, Mrs. Rondalyn Elizabeth Wright West, age 68, was held Thursday, August 25th, in the A.S. Clark Auditorium on the M.D. White's Medical Institute campus in Cordele, Georgia. The Reverend Gregory Homer officiated. The burial followed at the Bethel Cemetery in Cordele, Georgia. Survivors include her loving and devoted husband, Mr. Anthony West of Cordele, Georgia, her loving and devoted son, Mr. Adrian West, and his fiancée, Miss Shatilla of Atlanta, Georgia, and Mr. Alex J. West and his wife, Mrs. Whitney West of Perry, Georgia, her beloved grandson, Charvis and Ace, a host of beloved nieces and nephews, many cousins, other relatives, and many, many sorrowing friends survive. Beloved retired educator, Mrs. Rondalyn Wright West, age 68, of 1102 South 12th Street, Cordele, Georgia. Mr. Jesse Rowe Ferguson, Jr., age 88, of 703 Oak Avenue, Americus, Georgia, died Thursday, August 18, at his residence in Americus, Georgia. The funeral service for Mr. Jesse Rowe Ferguson, age 88, was held Saturday, August 27th, graveside at the Eastview Cemetery Pavilion in Americus, Georgia. The Reverend Carl Mons Jr. officiated. Survivors include his loving and devoted wife of 58 years, Mrs. Ella Ruth Ferguson of Americus, Georgia. His beloved and devoted son, Mr. Jesse K. Ferguson, and his wife, Mrs. Cynthia Ferguson of Americus, Georgia. Mr. Stanley Ferguson Sr. and his wife, Mrs. Cassandra Ferguson of Warner Robins, Georgia. And Mr. Jamie Ferguson and his wife, Mrs. Ramika Ferguson of Augusta, Georgia. His beloved grandchildren, Miss Jessica Ferguson, Mr. Kermit Ferguson, Miss Shakitha Brown, all of Americus, Georgia. Mr. Lionel Brown of Atlanta, Georgia. Miss Shante Honeycutt of Florida. Mr. Stanley Ferguson Jr. of Virginia. Miss Shaquilla Ferguson of Minnesota. Miss Nadia Ferguson of Colorado. Mr. Zanray Ferguson of Atlanta, Georgia. Mr. Derek Barker and Miss Brianna Barker. 31 beloved great-grandchildren. His beloved and devoted sisters, Mrs. Irene Holland of Bridgeton, New Jersey, Miss Geraldine Ferguson, and Miss Helen Tullis, both of Americus, Georgia. His beloved brothers-in-law, Mr. Willie Russell Bryant of Birmingham, Alabama, and Mr. Robert Lee Johnson of Syracuse, New York. A host of beloved nieces and nephews, many cousins, other relatives, and many, many sorrowing friends survive. Mr. Jesse Rowe Ferguson Jr., age 88, of 803 Oak Avenue, Americus, Georgia. Prophetess Annie Kate Streeter Thomas, age 70, of 149 Jenkins Road, Americus, Georgia, died Saturday, August 20th at the Emory University Midtown Medical Center in Atlanta, Georgia. The funeral service for Prophetess Annie Kate Streeter Thomas, age 70, was held Saturday, August 27th in the sanctuary of the Friendship Baptist Church in Americus, Georgia. Bishop Melvin McCluster, pastor. The Reverend Shirley Strawder officiated. The burial followed at the Eastview Cemetery in Americus, Georgia. Survivors include a loving and devoted husband, Mr. David Thomas of Americus, Georgia, a beloved son, Mr. Brockney Streeter of Mableton, Georgia, her beloved grandson, Mr. Bryston Streeter of Houston, Texas, her goddaughter, Miss Phyllis Hicks of Americus, Georgia, her beloved brothers, Mr. Thomas Jordan and his wife, Miss Juliet Jordan of Americus, Georgia, and Mr. John H. Jordan and his wife, Mrs. Tommy Jordan of Smyrna, Georgia. His beloved and devoted sisters, her beloved and devoted sisters, Miss Inez Jordan of McDonald, Georgia, Mrs. Gloria Simpson of Americus, Georgia, and Miss Sabrina Jordan of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. A devoted niece, Miss Sonia Jordan of McDonald, Georgia. A devoted cousin, sister, Miss Glover Dean Bell of Americus, Georgia. A beloved uncle, Deacon Ezel Shelton of Americus, Georgia. One beloved aunt, Mrs. May Frances Merritt of Plains, Georgia. Her beloved sisters-in-law, Mrs. Gussie Thomas of Richland, Georgia, and Mrs. Patricia Thomas and her husband, Mr. Clifford Hammond of West Palm Beach, Florida. Her beloved brothers-in-law, Mr. John Thomas of Richland, Georgia, and Mr. Willis Thomas of Cocoa Beach, Florida. Her beloved stepchildren, Miss Alicia Thomas of Albany, Georgia, Miss Yolanda Thomas of Detroit, Michigan, Miss Erica Thomas of Ohio, and Miss Cynthia Thomas of Detroit, Michigan. A host of beloved and devoted nieces and nephews, cousins, friends, and her special prayer line group survived Prophetess Annie Kate Streeter Thomas, age 70, of 149 Jenkins Road, Americus, Georgia. Miss Gloria Williams, American, age 89, of 900 Gold Ridge Crossing, Canton, Georgia, died Friday, August 26th at the Chris Regional Hospital in Cordele, Georgia. Survivors include her loving and devoted children, Miss Cheryl Bowling and her husband, Mr. Ronald Bowling of Newark, New Jersey, Mr. Darrell American and his wife, Mrs. Loretta American of Newark, Delaware, Mr. Michael American of Brooklyn, New York, Ms. Danielle American of Forest Hill, New York, Mrs. Michelle Smith and her husband, Mr. David Smith of Tampa, Florida, and Mrs. Nadine Thomas and her husband, Mr. Charlie Thomas of Canton, Georgia. 22 beloved grandchildren, 28 great-grandchildren, 3 great-great-grandchildren, a beloved sister, Miss Daphne Smith of Norcross, Georgia, a host of other relatives, and many, many sorrowing friends survive. Mrs. Gloria Williams, American, age 89, of 900 Gold Ridge Crossing, Canaan, Georgia. Again, the family of the Reverend J. Willie Daniels, Jr. of Vienna, Georgia, the family of beloved retired educator, Miss Rondalyn Wright West of Cordele, Georgia, the family of Mr. Jesse Rowe Ferguson, Jr. of Americus, Georgia, the family of Prophetess Annie Streeter Thomas of Americus, Georgia, the family of Miss Gloria Williams, American, of Canaan, Georgia. Would like to thank thy many friends for all of the many kindnesses shown to them during the hours of sorrow and bereavement during the past week. May God bless each of you, is their prayer. The J.W. Williams funeral directors serving Cordele and Vienna were in charge of each of these arrangements during the past week. It is certainly with the deepest regret that we make the following announcement. Deacon Callaway Morris, age 86, of 458 West Washington Avenue, Ashburn, Georgia, died Tuesday, August 23rd at his residence in Ashburn, Georgia. Survivors include his loving and devoted wife, Deacon S. Janie May Carter Morris of Ashburn, Georgia. His loving and devoted children, Miss Gloria Morris, Miss Pamela Morris, and Mrs. Catherine Pitts, and her husband, Mr. James Pitts of Ashburn, Georgia. 14 beloved grandchildren, 39 great-grandchildren, 2 beloved brothers, Mr. Johnny Lee Morris of Tampa, Florida, and Deacon Charlie Will Morris and his wife, Mrs. Bonnie Morris of Albany, Georgia. A host of beloved nieces and nephews, many cousins, other relatives, and many, many sorrowing friends survive. Deacon Callaway Morris, age 86, of 458 West Washington Avenue, Ashburn, Georgia. The funeral service for Deacon Callaway Morris, age 86, will be held Saturday, September 3rd at 11 a.m. in the sanctuary of the Fort Early Baptist Church in Warwick, Georgia, with the minister selected officiating. The burial will follow in the churchyard cemetery. The public walk-up visitation will be Friday, September 2nd from 1 until 5 p.m. at the J.W. Williams Funeral Home. Mrs. Heather Ann King, age 46, of 1216 Blue Lane, Cordele, Georgia, died Wednesday, August 10th at the Chris Regional Hospital in Cordele, Georgia. Survivors include her loving and devoted husband, Mr. Octavius King of Cordele, Georgia, her loving and caring children, Miss Leanna Sweeney, Mr. Ethan Paul Sweeney, Mr. Kelvin Michael Sweeney, Mr. William Sweeney Jr., all of Akron, Ohio. Her beloved adopted mother, Mrs. Jean Golphin of Akron, Ohio. Her beloved mother-in-law, Mrs. Debbie King of Cordele, Georgia. Her brother-in-law, Mr. Damian King of Jacksonville, Florida. Her beloved sister-in-law, Miss Tiffany Daniels of Savannah, Georgia. A host of beloved nieces, nephews, cousins, other relatives, and many, many sorrowing friends survive. Mrs. Heather Ann King, age 46, of 1216 East Blue Lane, Cordele, Georgia. The funeral service for Mrs. Heather Ann King, age 46, will be announced at a later date, pending the completion of the arrangements. The J.W. Williams funeral directors serving Cordele and Vienna are in charge of each of these arrangements during this week. Friends, that conclude our funeral notices for this morning. And as always, we do remind you concerning our pre-funeral arrangements planning available at the J.W. Williams Funeral Home, with packages available with a single pay, a 3-year pay, a 5-year pay, and a 10-year pay. So please stop by and talk with us concerning your pre-funeral arrangements needs available at the J.W. Williams Funeral Home. And also whole life insurance is available at the J.W. Williams Funeral Home.
Christ Chapel Unadilla Food Pantry will be open each Saturday from 10 a.m. until 12 o'clock noon. For more information, please contact Ms. Jeanette Taylor for information concerning the food pantry. The New Poplar Springs Baptist Church invites everyone to join them each Sunday at 9:45 a.m. for in-person and via conference call worship service. You may call them at 253-993-3761 for worship service. You may dial the same number on Wednesday at 6:30 a.m. for morning prayer and 7 o'clock p.m. on Wednesdays for an hour of encouragement on conference call line. Pastor Teacher Johnny B. Dean and the members of New Poplar Spring extend to you a cordial invitation to worship with them during these times. The Greater Mars Tabernacle Missionary Baptist Church invites everyone to worship with them Sunday, August 28th at 9 a.m. as they celebrate the annual Family and Friends Day service. You may join them Facebook Live for worship service or on their telephone conference call. The telephone conference call number is 229-329-7611. Again, that number is 229-329-7611. You may join us for Tuesday midday prayer conference at 12 o'clock noon, Thursday prayer meeting at Bible study at 6 o'clock p.m. Deacon Arthur L. Park is the chairman of Deacons. Dr. K.M. Williams is the pastor. Everyone has a cordial invitation to worship with the St. King Missionary Baptist Church. They invite you to worship with them in their worship service. Sunday school begins at 9 o'clock a.m. and Sunday worship service at 10:15 a.m. Reverend Woody Burnham is the pastor. The Mount Zion First African Baptist Church conference call schedule Sunday morning at 10 o'clock a.m. Prayer meeting Wednesday and Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 12 o'clock noon. Bible study is held each Wednesday at 5 o'clock p.m. The call-in number is 339-209-6419. Deacon Joe Wedges is the chairman. Dr. Dan James III is the pastor. The Gethsemane Missionary Baptist Church extends a cordial invitation for everyone to worship with them, and their morning worship service beginning at 10:30 a.m. Mother Mary Butler is the church mother. Deacon Joe Wedges is the chairman of Deacon Johnny Wilson is the chairman of Deacons. Brother Cecil Straughter is the pastor. The Davis Chapel CMB Church will have worship service this morning beginning at 10 o'clock a.m. Face mask is required. Stewart Ruby Barrett is the chairman of Stewards. Reverend Arnell Wilburn is the pastor. Everyone has a cordial invitation to worship with the New Oak Road Baptist Church today. Sunday school begins at 9:15 a.m. Worship service at 10 o'clock a.m. Face covering is required. Deacon Alonzo Jones is the chairman of Deacons, and Reverend W.W. Wilson is the pastor. Everyone is cordially invited to attend. You're invited to worship with the Mount Calvary Baptist Church today. Morning worship service begins at 10:30 a.m. Everyone has a cordial invitation to attend. Mother Evelyn Lewis, church mother. Deacon Leon Spears, chairman of Deacons. Reverend Isaac Owens is the pastor. The Wilcox County Head Start offers free child development services for eligible families with children ages 3 to 5. For more information, please contact Ms. Donna Jenkins at 229-365-2341 or 478-922-4464. The McAfee Grove Baptist Church, Leesburg, invites everyone to worship with them for family nights on Tuesday at 7 o'clock p.m., small class study on Thursday at 7 o'clock p.m., Sunday morning worship service at 9 o'clock a.m. You may join them by calling 425-436-6341. The access code is 708058. Reverend Dr. Robert L. Morgan Sr. is the pastor. The Historical Awards Committee will be donating a gift to the head mother of the church in September in place of the pre-Mother's Day luncheon. To receive the gift, the head mother can contact Deacon Tommy Ford Jr. at 229-417-0324. or Stuart Cleveland Lemons at 229-938-6838, or Brother Johnny Dennis at 229-322-8163, or Deacon John Wiggins at 229-712-0136. Again, the Historical Awards Committee will be donating a gift to the head mother of the churches in our community during the month of September. For more information, please contact Deacon Tommy Ford Jr., 229-417-0324, Stuart Cleveland Lemons, 229-938-6838, Brother Johnny Dennis, 229-322-8163, or Deacon John Wiggins, 229-712-0136. Mr. Paul Atkins would like to announce that his book of poems, Never a Dull Moment, is on sale now at Amazon. For more information, you may contact Brother Atkins by calling 229-406-3489. And as a final announcement this morning, we would like to remind the citizens of our community that we have less than 80 days before our upcoming election will take place. Please begin now to familiarize yourself with all of the candidates who are listed in our state and local elections coming up. This is going to be a very important election, and we do encourage you to get involved. And in the coming weeks, we will have a complete listing of all the candidates of our area who will be running. We ask that you would make plans now to familiarize yourself with the ballot. This is a very important election, and we have less than 80 days, exactly 72 days to be exact. So please familiarize yourself with this and prepare yourselves to vote. That will conclude our announcements for this morning.
And now for dedications. Our first election this morning is dedicated to the following: in loving memory of our brother and friend of long standing, Brother Larry Edwards, who would have celebrated his birthday on August 26, and who departed this life August 19, 2007. Dedication requested by his beloved brothers, Mr. Walter Edwards and Mr. Billy Wayne Edwards Sr., and the entire Edwards family, and all of the members of the Greater Morris Tabernacle Baptist Church, as we pause and remember the life and service of our brother, Brother Larry Edwards, gone but not forgotten. Our first selection this morning is in memory of Mother Mary Thelma Solomon, who would have celebrated her birthday on August 23rd. Dedication requested by her beloved and devoted children, Minister Catherine Sims, Mrs. Josephine Reese Johnson, Miss Leanna M. Thomas, Deacon Jesse W. Durham and his wife, Mrs. Mary Durham, and Mr. Rayford Solomon, all of Americus, Georgia, Mrs. Evelyn Davis and her husband, Deacon James E. Davis of Leesburg, Georgia, and Mr. Roosevelt Solomon and his wife, Mrs. Linda Solomon. Precious memory lingers still. Mother Mary Thelma Solomon, who would have celebrated her birthday on August the 23rd, gone but not forgotten. In loving memory of Deacon Elder B. Williams, who departed this life August 10, 2021, and would have celebrated his birthday August 11. Dedication requested by Mrs. Barbara Roberts and the entire family, gone but not forgotten. In loving memory of Mrs. Inez Shorter, who departed this life August 29, 2014. Dedication requested by her beloved family. Precious memory lingers still. In loving memory of Mrs. Ethel Fuller, who would have celebrated her birthday August 23rd. Dedication requested by the entire family. Gone but not forgotten. In loving memory of Mrs. Sally Mae Jones, who departed this life August 24, 1993. Dedication requested by the Jones family. Gone but not forgotten. In loving memory of Minister Virginia Rose Oliver, who departed this life August 24, 2017. Dedication requested by the Hardeman and Cobb family. Precious memory lingers still. In loving memory of Mr. Howard Jones III, who would have celebrated his birthday August 25th, dedication requested by his beloved sister, Miss Dorothy Rose Jones, and the entire family, gone but not forgotten. In loving memory of Mrs. Burnell Morgan, who departed this life August 27, 2016. Dedication requested by the Felton, Brooks, and Morgan family. Precious memory lingers still. In loving memory of Deacon Barry Davis Sr., who departed this life August 28, 1966, dedication requested by Mr. John Arthur Manning and the entire family, gone but not forgotten. In loving memory of Mrs. Inez Neal, who would have celebrated her birthday August 28th, dedication requested by her beloved family, gone but not forgotten. In loving memory of Deacon Aaron Butler Sr., who departed this life August 29th, 1990. Dedication requested by his beloved wife, Mother Mary Butler, and the entire family, gone but not forgotten. In loving memory of Mrs. Willie Pearl Davis, who departed this life August 29, 2013. Dedication requested by Mrs. Mary Frances Davis, gone but not forgotten. Our first selection this morning is dedicated to the following. Happy birthday to Miss Corrine Brown, who celebrated her birthday August 8th. Dedication requested by her beloved children and the entire family. Happy birthday to Mrs. Veronica Queenie of Dawson, Georgia, who celebrated her birthday Thursday, August 18th. Dedication requested by her family and Ms. Barbara Roberts. Happy birthday to Mr. James Ed Smith, who celebrated his birthday Monday, August 29th. Dedication requested by the Smith, Martin, and Green family and his beloved nephew, Deacon Kenneth Smith Jr. Happy birthday to Miss Ethel Dean Hobbs, who celebrated her birthday Friday, August 26th. Dedication requested by her beloved family. Happy birthday to Mr. Johnny Davis, who celebrated his birthday Friday, August 26th. Dedication requested by his beloved family. Happy birthday to Mrs. Mary Montfrey Dorberry, who celebrated her birthday on August 27th. Dedication requested by her beloved family. Happy birthday to Mr. Malcolm Christopher III, who celebrated his birthday Saturday, August 27th. Dedication requested by the Epps and Lawton family. Happy birthday to missionary Geraldine Perry, who celebrated her birthday Saturday, August 27th. Dedication requested by the Perry and Relaford family. Happy birthday to Mr. Norman Fields Jr., who celebrated his birthday Saturday, August 27th. Dedication requested by his beloved family. Happy birthday to Mr. Frankie Lee Collier Jr., who is celebrating his birthday today, Sunday, August 28th. Dedication requested by his beloved wife, Mrs. Deborah Collier, his children, and the entire family. Happy birthday. I believe that's my cousin, Mr. Frankie Lee, who's celebrating his birthday today, from his daughter, Miss Shanika, and all of the family. Happy birthday to Mr. Michael James, who is celebrating his birthday today, Sunday, August 28th. Dedication requested by the James and Collier family. And special birthday wishes goes out to Dr. Dan James III, who is celebrating his birthday on Tuesday, August 30th. Dedication requested by his wife and the members of the Mount Zion First African Baptist Church. Happy birthday to Ms. Donna Epps, who celebrated her birthday Wednesday, will celebrate her birthday Wednesday, August 31st. Dedication requested by the Lawton and Epps family. Our first selection this morning goes out to Deacon James Smith and family. Deacon Henry King of the Gethsemane Missionary Baptist Church, the Reverend Nelson Maynor and his beloved mother, Mother May Maynor, and the entire Maynor family, Miss Willie Mae Leary family of Hatley, Georgia, Miss Evonia Solomon and family, Mother Alberta Riles and family of Americus, Georgia, Deacon Bobby Fuse and family, Deacon Lawrence and Sister Gwen Williams and family of Leslie, Georgia, their beloved mother, Mother Janie Ruth Hall Billings and family, Assistant Superintendent Dr. Brandon Williams and family, Mr. Silence and Mrs. Doretha Didale and family, Mrs. Gloria Walker, and the members of the Montana Living Way of Christ Church of DeSoto, Georgia, Sister Liam Wright and family, the Reverend Johnny and Dr. Deanne Hosley and family, Miss Willie Mae Crapp and family, Mrs. Essie Gay and family, Miss Gwen Henderson and family, Mrs. Eddie Ruth White and family, Miss Mary Trahan and family, Mrs. Carol Nadine Dempsey and family, Mr. George Maddox of Albany and Americus, Georgia, Mother Grace Patrick, Church Mother of the beautiful Zion Missionary Baptist Church, Mother Adeline Lofton, Church Mother of the Little Rock Baptist Church of Araby, Georgia. The selection goes out to Mr. Charlie and Mrs. Watine Jackson and family, Mr. Ernie and Miss Lisa Bryan and family, Vienna, Georgia, Miss Lavinia James and family, Deacon and Mrs. Betty Crane and family, Pinehurst, Georgia, Evergreen Baptist Church of Pinehurst, Georgia, Miss Lily Crane and family, the Reverend Jesse, Miss Louise Watson family, Miss Shanta K. Bowens and family, Miss Patsy Carter and family, Vienna, Georgia, Deacon and Mrs. Zachary Fields and family, Deacon Tommy and Mrs. Gradine Ford and family, retired educator Miss Lucille G. Harris and family, Mrs. Mary Frances Davis and family, Mr. Joseph Glenn and family, Miss Mary Taylor and family, Mother Willie McGill and family, Mr. and Mrs. Judge Glenn and family, Mrs. Nettie Whitis and family, Miss Burrow Patrick and family, Miss Corrine Passmore and family, Mrs. Gail Chanel Williams and family, Miss Dorothy Rose Jones and family, Mr. Frederick Hardeman and family, Mr. Lonnie Walker and family, Miss Annette Stembridge and family, Miss Eddie Mae Cooks and family, Mother Jessie Kate Harmon and family, Mr. Donald and Miss Ruby Daniels and family, Minister Gardner and Miss Beulah Morgan and family, Miss Maggie Hardeman and family, Mrs. Pearl Reed and family, Mrs. Fanny Bivens and family, Poland, Georgia, Mrs. Connie James and family, Mrs. Aletha Askew, church trustee and clerk of the New Oak Grove Baptist Church, Miss Mary Applin and family, Minister Geraldine Ford and family, again to Mrs. Willie Mae Leary and family of Hatley, Georgia, Deacon Earl Leary and family, Miss Patricia Leary and family, Mr. Eddie Leary and family, Miss Mitt Redding and family, Mr. William Carter and the entire Carter family of Hatley, Georgia, Miss Mitt Redding and family, Miss Geneva Curry and family, Mother Martha Westbrook and family of Araby, Georgia, the family of the late Mother Lucille Westbrook, Mr. and Mrs. Lonnie Walker and family, Mrs. Carolyn Jackson Hicks and family, Mr. Alvin and Miss Ann Ross and family, Miss Letha Brown and family, Miss Burnell Welburn and family, Chairman, Deacon, Mr. and Mrs. John Manning and family, Mr. Earl Passmore and family, Mr. Larry Passmore and family, Mr. Lewis Harry L. Sr. and family, Mrs. Yvette Zanders and family, Mr. Alvin Jones and family, Ms. Rosa Wright family, Deacon and Brand Ridley and family, Mr. Henry Wheeler and family, Mr. Ricky Smith and family, Mrs. Daphne Askew and family, Mrs. Minnie L. Passmore and family, Mrs. Stephanie Westbrook and family, the Blight family of Vienna, Georgia, Miss Cheryl Royal and family, Mr. Willie James Young and family, Mrs. Shirley Washington and family, Mr. and Mrs. Michael D. Bruce and family, Miss Mary Jo Osby and family, Mr. and Mrs. Carl Westbury and family, Miss Carletta Leonard and family, Mr. and Mrs. Franklin Jordan and family, the Reverend and Mrs. Arthur Jordan and family, Mrs. Dorothy Nadine Young and family, Ms. Rosetta Leggett and family, Mrs. Donna Lester and family, Mrs. Jacqueline Wheeler and family, Mr. Kelvin Whitfield and family, Mr. Alton K. Brown and family, Mrs. Rhonda Lester and family, Mr. Calvin Ford and family, Miss Christine Kitchen and family, Miss Annette Leary and family, Mr. Ira Robinson and family, Mr. Steve Jackson III and family, Mr. and Mrs. Olin Askew and family, Miss Cynthia Rush and family, Miss Dorothy West and family, Mr. Reginald Billingsley and family, Mr. and Mrs. Willie B. Barnes and family, Vienna, Georgia, Miss Cynthia Webb and family, Mrs. Nettie Barnum and family, Miss Luane Harriel and family, Mr. Bert Kitchen and family, Mr. and Mrs. Alvin Lester and family, Mr. Robert Ford and family, Deacon and Mrs. James Askew and family, Miss Alice Henry and family, Mr. and Mrs. Donnie Brown and family, Mr. Tony Stubbs and family, Miss Anita Whitfield and family, Mrs. Cornelia Brown and family, Mrs. Harold Bryan and family, Mrs. Dorcas Owens and family, Mr. Arnell Holmes and family, Mrs. Aletha, Mrs. Athenia Aperi and family, Mr. and Mrs. Clarence White and family, Miss Charlie Mae Peacock and family, Mr. and Mrs. Bobby Anderson and family, Mrs. Nettie Mae Wise and family, Mrs. Alton Jordan and family, Mr. and Mrs. Scotty Grant and family, the Cleve Cross family, Mr. Clayton Dykes and family, the Charlotte Cheney family, the Clayton family, Mr. Harry Bird Jr. and families, Carrie Wheeler and families, Lucia Bryant and family, Mr. Michael Sanders and family, Miss Lily Brown and family, Mr. and Mrs. Eddie James Walker and family, Byronville, Georgia, the Burks family, the Reverend and Mrs. Lewis Burden and family, Deacon and Mrs. Albert King Sr., and family, the Hazel Clark family, Commissioner and Mrs. Harriet Ward and family, Mr. and Mrs. Willie Davis and family, Mrs. Ruthie Daniels and family, Mrs. Viola Green and family, Mrs. Pearline Roundtree and family, Mrs. Sarah Coleman and family, retired educator Mrs. Margaret Jordan and family, Vienna, Georgia, Mr. and Mrs. Johnny Perry and family, Vienna, Georgia, Deacon George Jordan and family, Mr. Walter Brown and family, Mr. and Mrs. Weston Keaton and family, Mr. and Mrs. Arthur Morrell and family, Mrs. Martha Harris and family, Miss Mary Morrell and family, Mr. Mantle Lee Johnson and family, the entire Johnson family, the Lester family, Mr. Curtis Whitfield and family, Mr. James Byram and family, Mr. and Mrs. Joe Clark and family, Deacon John David Law, Chairman of the Board of Deacons of the Evergreen Baptist Church of Pinehurst, Georgia, Miss Essie Mae Davis and family, Miss Odessa Sheffield and family, Miss Benita Armstrong and family, Mr. Edgar Lee, Deacon and Mrs. Willie Fields and family, Mr. and Mrs. Jerome Jordan and family, Miss Christine Jordan and family. Our first selection this morning goes out to my neighbor, Mrs. Theron Jones and family, the entire Jones and Tarbert family, Mother Dorothy Tarbert and family, Mrs. Juanita Tarbert and family, Deacon and Mrs. John Stubbs and family. Our first selection for this morning.
I want to tell you something. Oh, what a friend we have in Jesus. Sure. Oh, Lord, sins and grief bear. Oh, what a friend.
It is certainly with the deepest regret that we make the following announcement. Deacon Callaway Morris, age 86, of 458 West Washington Avenue, Ashburn, Georgia, died Tuesday, August 23rd, at his residence in Ashburn, Georgia. The funeral service for Deacon Callaway Morris, age 86, will be held Saturday, September 3rd at 11 a.m. in the sanctuary of the Fort Early Baptist Church in Warwick, Georgia, with the minister selected officiating. Burial will follow in the churchyard cemetery. The public walk-up visitation will be Friday, September 2nd from 1 until 5 p.m. at the J.W. Williams Funeral Home. Mrs. Heather Ann King, age 46, of 1216 East Blue Lane, Cordele, Georgia, died Wednesday, August 10th at the Chris Regional Hospital in Cordele, Georgia. The funeral service for Mrs. Heather Ann King, age 46, will be announced at a later date pending the completion of the arrangements. The J.W. Williams Funeral Directors serving Cordele and Vienna are in charge of each of these arrangements during this week. Our next and final selection for this morning is dedicated to the bereaved families whose loved ones were laid to rest during the past week. The family of the Reverend J. Willie Daniels, Jr. of Vienna, Georgia. The family of beloved retired educator Ms. Rondalyn Wright West of Cordele, Georgia. The family of Mr. Jesse Rowe Ferguson, Jr. of Americus, Georgia. The family of Prophetess Annie Streeter Thomas of Americus, Georgia. The family of Ms. Gloria Williams American of Canaan, Georgia. This election is dedicated to the bereaved families whose loved ones will be laid to rest during this week. The family of Deacon Callaway Morris of Ashburn, Georgia. The family of Miss Heather King of Cordele, Georgia. This election is dedicated to all of the sick and shut-in, to all patients in the local and surrounding hospitals, nursing homes, and rehabilitation centers, to our beloved ministers and their devoted family members, to all retired educators, to the men and women serving in our armed forces, both stateside and abroad, to all veterans, and to everyone who listens to our program on each Sunday morning. It's a pleasure for us to bring it to you. Our program goes out in memory of our past president, Dr. Napoleon Williams, to my wife, Mrs. Calandra Wilkerson Parker, to my son, Jai Wilkerson Parker. This election goes out to my brother, retired Chief Master Sergeant Norman F. Dexter, and his wife, Dr. Gwendolyn Mike Singh Dexter, and their grandson, Noble. This election goes out to my sister, Mrs. Patsy Jackson, and her husband, Mr. Jim Jackson, and family of Cordele, Georgia. This election goes out to my nephew, Deacon Kenneth Smith, program chairman of the Greater Morris Tabernacle Missionary Baptist Church, and our pastor, Dr. K.M. Williams, his wife, Sister Kathy Williams, and family. Again, inviting you to worship today for Family and Friends Day at the Greater Morris Tabernacle Missionary Baptist Church at 9 a.m. You're cordially invited, all family and friends, this morning at 9 a.m. This selection this morning goes out to my mother-in-law, Mrs. Billy Ann Hall, and family. Goes out to our beloved Mrs. Easter May Sanders and family. Goes out to Miss Kimberly Sanders and Mrs. Annette Sanders and family. And Felton, Mr. George Felton and family. This selection goes out to Mr. Cleveland R. Lemon, oldest staff member of the J.W. Williams Funeral Home, and worked with us during this past week in the homegoing celebration of retired educator, Ms. Rondalyn Wright West. Thank you to Mr. Cleveland R. Lemon. This election then again goes out to each and every one who listens to our program on each Sunday morning. It's a pleasure for us to bring it to you. It goes out to our dear friend, Mrs. Cheryl Henry Cobb and family of Americus, Georgia, and to each and every one of you. Goes out.
Yes, I'm going to walk. Oh, that will keep my way. Oh, child.
Thank you for joining us this morning. We hope you've enjoyed our program. Tune in again on next Sunday morning. Remember, in your time of need, contact the competent, capable, and dependable staff at the J.W. Williams Funeral Home.
Some of these days, well,